All right. I haven't covered anything from the MK leaks for a while. I don't think it is. It's just with the state of Mortal Kombat. You know, I think we're all upset about the state of things. You know, but I wanted to cover this because it's very interesting, right? This is over on the MK leaks, right? This was posted by Spiteful Sabbath. He says, found this on the main sub. Is this vinyl official product? Question mark. If yes, could this finally close the case? The base roster made into DLC. Right. Well, that's not my only question. Right. And we're going to dive deep into this because I have some theories about this. Right. So as you can clearly see by this wonderfully high-res quality image that they've taken, right, that you can see Ermac above Shang Tsung. Okay. Now, if this product is indeed true, it could simply just be made this way. Yeah? Right? Now, if this vinyl has come out after the fact, okay, then they could change it however they want to make it seem like that as well. All right, that doesn't mean or indicate that he's 24. I think a lot of people are under the assumption, and I do tend to agree, that both Quan Chi and Ermac probably would have made it into base roster if the game was probably released around now. But it wasn't, right? So, when the game first launched, we got 23 characters. And then we got this, like, hideous thing, right? I'll show you my old video where I covered it. Handsome devil. This was the base character selector. This is the first, like, the video that I covered for this 7 months ago exactly, showcasing the official character select screen look. It was obviously a leak, that's why the quality is really terrible. But we can see there that we've got two locked characters, which is Shang Tsung and Havoc. Havoc you get by finishing the story, and of course Shang Tsung was either a pre-order or you purchase separately. There's obviously been some reshuffling as well since the update, and I'm going to show you the in-game of that as well. But you can clearly see, and this is actually what happened at the end of the game when a game first, like, originally dropped, is that the character box that you can see down the bottom right had like a plus on it, which we all thought, oh, okay, that's where they're going to stick the DLC characters. We'll go down there just like an MK9's character select screen, and a little menu will slide out perhaps, and maybe we'll access it. That was one theory. The other going theory is basically, who's the 24th character? Is it some super secret hidden character? Right? And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. Okay? And as you can tell here, right, it's been updated, obviously, to accommodate Combat Pack 1, which brought in 6 actual Mortal Kombat and guest characters. Right? So we have 3 segments here of 8. 3 8s are 24. But we're missing the 24th slot, hence the who's the 24th character, right? Now, if we go back to here, right, let's just turn the game on for a moment, right? You will see this is now the updated roster. Okay? We'll put the video on screen for you guys to compare. It had been updated from 3 lots of 8 to 3 lots of 10. Okay. So we get 23 base characters, we get 6 additional, which takes up to 29. Right? We didn't have like just a dragon symbol just sitting around in the screen somewhere. Right? We had, that on the right side down the bottom looking very out of place, almost like the game was putting out a beta character select screen, right? So the theory is that was Ermac the 24th because he showed up here, right? He showed up there, therefore obviously it must be true, right? Obviously it must be true. Okay, but as you can see by the YouTube video, things don't align up either, right? Because if this indeed was like the original character select screen that has been used for this apparent vinyl, then it would possibly look like this, perhaps. Okay, but it wasn't, right? It wasn't at all. So when we go back to here and look at the updated version of it, which is accommodating now 30 spaces, right? 3 lots of 10, up from 3 lots of 8. 24th slot was just an empty, or sort of like, you know, we don't know what the hell this slot is. Now we've got 3 lots of 10 to accommodate the 6 characters that they've added in. Now, this is the interesting part. It's 6 characters, it's an even number, right? Here's the question. You take this select screen, right? Regardless of reshuffling of characters, it still ended up, we will launch with 23 characters, 2 locked, empty slot. Okay? Now you add 6 to that, it takes it up to a total of what? 24 slots on screen. 23 characters plus 6 is 29, but there's still a 24th slot, and it will still be even. As you can see with this character select screen, this is the one that we have right now, they put 4 of the DLC characters onto the 3rd block of characters, right? The reshuffle occurred with, to accommodate Combo Pack 1. And then they put these 2 MK characters all the way over here. All by their lonesome. Right? We didn't need to have... Right? We didn't... So what I'm saying is, like, we didn't need to have that extra slot still be made available, which is what we have there with the dragon symbol. Right? Or not. I've always had this feeling that there is some character that's coming, right? Some character that won't be part of a combat pack, right? It could be a free character. It could be Noob Sobot. Who knows? There's certainly nothing been leaked out of the files. There's a couple of people that do get in deep when it comes to all the data mining and stuff like that. And they are... There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no hidden character whatsoever for that slot, right? Let's assume that the dragon symbol is a character. That's 30 characters. All right, at the end of Combat Pack 1, and then whatever that is, we get that character, right? We get our 30th character, or originally 24th character. Okay? Originally. Now you could argue that Ermac could have been base roster in the screen in the video that I'm showcasing here of mine, but why not Quan Chi? Both characters were shown predominantly, especially Quan Chi, in the story. Either one of them could have ended up as base roster, and I don't think this is proof enough, right? With that. Hang on, let's try that for a sec, right? I don't think that's proof enough, right? So, I still think there's something. I think there is something, right? Because if you add, so you got 23 plus 6, it would have been 29, right? So technically they still would have had to accommodate for an empty slot. So they put a dragon symbol in. But I want you to think about this very carefully. How many Mortal Kombat games, right? How many Mortal Kombat games, like character select screens, actually have a dragon symbol just sitting there not doing anything, right? Now, if we go back to, I'm just double checking, just, you know, just make absolutely sure, right? The original Mortal Kombat had a dragon symbol between Kano and Sub-Zero, right? We didn't have any MK2. With MK3 we did, but that ended up being obviously Cyber Smoke. We also had 3 originally in the arcade when it came out, was Ultimate MK3, that originally showcased, right, hidden characters. Okay. MK4 didn't have it. MK Gold didn't have it. Right? And then of course you had all the home versions. Right? Which, again, I'm just thinking of Deadly Alliance didn't have it. There was no just dragon symbol sitting there, never discovered. Same with Deception. You had unlockable characters, but that was different, right? You still filled up the entire roster screen. Same with Armageddon, right? Except with Armageddon, you actually had the red and the blue sort of like NPC type icon, which is where your creator fighter was. So here's the theories, my theories. This is going to be some unique character that may not be tied to a combat pack. It may not be tied to story DLC. It'll be a character that when they... So my theory on this will be this, right? If they're going ahead with the story DLC, they can advertise that. But what they do is they advertise that slot right there. And they go, regardless of whether you're not buy the story DLC or not, on launch day of the story DLC, this character will be made available to everyone as a massive thank you and support for the game. That would be very generous, right? And it wouldn't surprise me if it was something like Noob Saibot, right? Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Okay. The other theory, right, is that what if it is a randomly customized, or sorry, randomly generated character slot. When you click on it, right, and it'll have like some new icon. When you click on it, it randomly generates a Mortal Kombat character for you to use. Now, we've seen this at the end of the story where we saw all these different types of crossover variation characters show up as part of timeline battles and stuff like that for, you know, the end of the MK1 storyline. What if they took that technology and they stuck it in a character slot and they said, every single time you click that, whether it be to go online, to play someone, whether it be to fight in a tower, it will create a randomly generated character for you to use. Now, when it comes to online, that'd be very interesting because, like, you know, you'd have to have, like, you know, ninja reflexes to check the move list and go, oh my god, all right, like, so this is what we got. That'd be cool, right? And you could save them as presets too, right? So you go in there and you can actually press a button and it loads up all the presets. So if you liked a particular formation that the game has created for you, you can actually save it. You know, like a Kano Sonya type thing. You go, oh, I actually like that. I'm going to save that as a character, and you go into that slot to do it. Otherwise, it also, the third theory could be that it's a creator fighter, right? It could actually end up being a creator fighter. Okay. So I don't really go with the idea that the 24th character was supposed to be like Ermac, because it could very well have been Quan Chi. Both of them had strong presence in the story, right? Both of them. I still think something's coming for it. We're seeing the ramping up of adding special moves now to the characters, almost as if feeling like we have now begun the proper, what should have been the proper release. Now, if you take the game that we have right now, right? And this was the launch roster except for the guest characters, right? So you take out the 3 guest characters, okay? And it leaves, you know, you can take the dragon symbol out, right? Because you don't need it anymore, because then the only Mortal Kombat character on that side is Quan Chi. So then you just shuffle them across to fill that dragon symbol up, and then you get a complete roster. If we got that on launch, that'd be nuts, right? That's a very strong roster, right? So that'd be 23, that'd be 26 starting character roster, right? Obviously not including the 3 guest characters. That'd be pretty awesome, yeah? Pretty awesome, much better than the 23. I know it's only extra 3, but considering that we all played the story and we know how much Quan Chi and Ermac was involved, it really feels like the game was possibly pushed out early. They got these characters as DLC instead. Could have been a WB, well, more than likely anyway, WB sort of initiative to do that. And we ended up with the shit show that we have. And now we end up with where it feels like maybe, just maybe right now, they are starting to actually put out the game that we were meant to get. But I'll cover that in another video anyway, because I want to go more into depth with that. So I want to know what you guys think. I still think something's coming. Because again, outside of the original Mortal Kombat, we don't have a dragon symbol just left on the screen in the middle of a character select screen, right? And if you look at the original MK, everything's built around it anyway, right? It doesn't ever indicate, it's not a box in the middle of the character select screen with a dragon symbol in it. It's a background with the dragon symbol, and then they place the boxes around it, right? It's not encased in a box. But like in MK3, in Ultimate MK3, right? And then obviously home versions in the 3D era where you had specific characters to unlock, all of these things eventually filled up with a character. And that's my theory. I still think something's coming. I just don't know what it is. But I can tell you right now, again, just to reiterate, if they actually made it so that they gave away an actual full character as a thank you, rather than monetize it, I can't tell you the amount of goodwill that will get. That will create a lot of goodwill. Because people will be sitting there going, we actually get a whole character. Right, we're not just getting piecemeal stuff, we're actually getting a whole character that we're going to have to pay for. And it's a character, especially if it was something like Noob Saibot, right, who I've covered in the past about the way that he's apparently supposed to be and stuff like that, that that'd be massive. Like, you understand that, like that would be really big. And that'd be huge, that'd be a massive amount of goodwill. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I can't think of another fighting game that's done that. If anyone knows, let me know if that's been done before, where they've literally just given away a character for free. I know it's very surprising if they did that, considering you know what Warner Brothers and NRS are like, but I wouldn't be surprised. Could you imagine that? The amount of hype, the amount of attention, the amount of goodwill, coverage, you know, everything. Every content creator would be covering it. It would lift the game up. It would show that maybe NRS are trying to get back in our good graces by, you know, trying to right the ship that is completely capsized. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Catch you next time.